everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be building a folksy farmhouse in The Sims 4. I know it's been kind of a while since my last video, but real life got in the way and I went to Disney World, so that's where I've been. I mean, not the whole time, but for part of the time. Anyways, so I decided what better way to jump back into building than to build a lovely farmhouse. So this is something I've been kind of toying around with doing for a little while. I secretly was hoping that at some point we'd be getting like a game pack with like gardening or farming or something like that as more of the focus. But as of right now, I don't know that that will be happening anytime soon, so I figured, I'll go ahead and do the build anyways without it. So yeah, so this is my farmhouse. I had a lot of fun building this actually. It's a very like simple design because it's basically just two rectangles stacked on top of each other. But with the porches and the roofs, it doesn't really feel quite so like plain Jane boring. Also, I was really excited to find those green roofs because that's something that I see a lot on farmhouses, at least. I mean, I live in the Midwest, so at least in my part of the country, that's what I see a lot on farmhouses. So yeah, and I really loved the idea of doing a house with a big wraparound front porch. Originally it started off as a smaller wraparound porch, and then it became a slightly bigger wraparound porch, and then it became a wraparound porch that went around the entire house. So, you know, if you're gonna do it, you might as well just go big or go home. So I made it a giant wraparound porch. And I was really hoping, in The Sims 3, we had rocking chairs that came in Generations, I want to say. I actually don't remember which pack it came in now, but I was like, oh, if we only had rocking chairs in The Sims 4 again, because that would be perfect, just like line them up in a row on the front porch, but we don't, so I had to settle for like, patio furniture instead, but in my mind, they're rocking chairs. So anyways, so I'm just going through, putting in windows and columns and doing all that fun, like, layout types of things. This build, I knew the general shape of the house that I wanted, and I sort of had an idea of how I wanted the floor plan for the first floor to go. But usually what ends up happening is something will change along the way. And in this case, I gave very little thought to how the upstairs was going to be laid out. I wasn't even really sure how many bedrooms I wanted this house to have, but I knew on the first floor how I wanted it to look. So I just went from there and kind of built the second floor around it, if you will. So there I am putting in stairs. So that room in the top left is going to be the kitchen, and then obviously here where I'm putting in the table and the bar is going to be a dining room. This isn't something that I always do, but when I have particular objects in mind that I want to make sure they can fit in a very specific spot in the house, I'll go ahead and toss in a couple of like dummy items to make sure that it'll actually work out how I want it to. And I knew that I wanted to be able to fit in one of the bars in the dining room. For some reason, I'm really bad at remembering to put bars in houses. I mean, like, I don't know why exactly. I never grew up in a house that had a bar, so that might be part of it, but so I wanted to make sure that it had a spot though, because I feel bad about like hardly ever putting them in. I mean, the globe bar that came with Vintage Glamour stuff has helped a lot, but I've also seen where your Sims, like the attraction system is kind of messed up for it, and they're so attracted to the globe bar that that's all that they want to do. So I don't really want that either. So I was like, all right, well, I'll make sure that I can find a spot in the house, because that's the other thing. If I put in a bar, I tend to put it on the outside, like on a patio, and I was like, okay, but this is a farmhouse. Like, that really does not make sense to have an outside patio bar. So anyways, so now I'm going through and picking out wallpaper and flooring. I tried to stick with like more classic, American types of flooring and wallpaper, especially like that awful floral wallpaper. I mean, it's awful in a good way. It's very authentic. It sort of reminds me of like what would be in your grandma's house. But yeah, and I also, I wanted this house to seem like it was older, and maybe they had done a few updates here and there, but not 100%. So like that really weird green colored rug in the office downstairs doesn't quite go with the wallpaper, but let's be real. If a house is something that somebody is actively living in and they're not like an interior designer, things aren't always going to go perfectly together 100% of the time anyway. So now I'm doing, let's see, we're up to the master bathroom, which is a lovely brown scheme, which I don't really like doing brown for bathrooms, but I feel like if I don't do something that's like brown or blue, then what else is there? I mean, like I could do the grays and stuff, but I don't know. I wanted to do something that really felt like it's been there for a while. So I also discovered while I was doing this that there was new wallpaper and paint patterns that I don't remember, like this here, the purple with the sparkles. I don't remember seeing that one or the one with the sailboats. Like, I know we got a bunch of new wallpapers with the toddler update, but I think they've multiplied because I don't remember seeing all of them there before. I don't know. They probably were and I just missed them, but in any case. So now we're down to doing the kitchen. And I wanted to make this kitchen like enormously huge and also not feel like it would be cluttered. Like, I'm thinking like, okay, picture like Thanksgiving dinner and like your grandma's in the kitchen and your mom is in the kitchen and all of your aunts are in the kitchen and there's like 5 people all trying to cook at the same time and there's like not even enough counter space and people are tripping over each other. So I thought that I would do a bigger kitchen and alleviate that struggle for people who were trying to fight over, one family kitchen. So I probably could have done an island in the middle, but I also sort of feel like that's kind of a newer thing. And since this house is meant to feel a little older, I didn't want to put one in. So, I mean, if you download this house and you want to put an island in the kitchen, go for it. But honestly, there's so much counter space in this house, I don't know that it's even really a necessity. So, so obviously I picked out some of the older styled cabinets to use and the refrigerator and the stove. So this is definitely an older kitchen. Also, this is like one of my favorite spots in the house, which seems odd, but I made this little corner with like a tall chair and a table next to it. And like there's a calendar and like eventually there's a wall clock there and a poster board or a bulletin board. And the idea is that this is where like the home phone would be. And I know we don't have like wall-mounted landline phones in The Sims 4, but if we did, that would be where it would be at. Because again, I mean, like, this is an older house, and I remember, like, the house that I grew up in, the phone was in the kitchen. The house that I own now, the phone jack is in the kitchen. There's no phone there, but it could be there if we had a landline phone. So anyways, so that I just thought was like a cute little, like, throwback to the older years or older generation. So yeah. So there I am doing the dining room, getting that all put together. There's a lot of wood in this house, like now that I'm looking at it, which I did not realize just how much wood was in this house. But, I try to like soften it as much as I can by putting in curtains and, area rugs and that sort of thing. So, I don't know. I had kind of a hard time like with this dining room. I wasn't sure about putting in too many decorations, and I don't know. It was just kind of a weird setup for me, I think. But especially because the kitchen came so easily that when it came time to like put things on the walls in the dining room, I was like, okay, there's not that many really traditional looking wall hangings or pictures that aren't also very expensive because, this is a farmhouse. So I didn't want to put in too many things that were like really fancy schmancy because that wouldn't have fit here. And when I clicked through like the Gothic farmhouse and the French country, I think is it what it is, are the two style themes that I tended to use the most in this house, a lot of it seemed more rustic than what I was really going for. So, and I do use a lot of those things, just not in the dining room. So that is a huge help, I think, in The Sims 4 is to being able to filter things. Like, I remember near the end of The Sims 3 when I had most of the store content and almost all of the packs and trying to sort through, like, I gave up. Like, I couldn't find anything. So I really like that little filter system now where you can choose by color or by style, or even if you know exactly what you want, you're just, okay, where are the coat racks? And you can just type it in that little search bar. It's the best thing in the world. So yeah, so now we're on to the office. Here again, more brown, more wood, but this time I picked green as more of an accent color because it went with the carpet that I had picked out, and that was basically all the thought that I had given to that. So, and I kind of wanted to use like maybe a little older computer because, they wanted to have a computer. It's a good way to keep track of things like, crop rotations and that sort of thing. But really, it's not going to be your top of the line social media person's computer. So, and then I threw in some, overstuffed bookshelves and armchairs, and I put in some of these like funky boxes with some books, and I think it's like a rock or something in there. I'm not honestly really sure what that is. But I tried to make this room look like it was cluttered. Also, then I discovered clocks, which is odd because I feel like I'm talking about The Sims 3 a lot in this Sims 4 video, but in The Sims 3, I used clocks in my houses very frequently, and in The Sims 4, I almost never put them in. So that was me rediscovering the clocks section of the catalog and then putting in some clocks. So, and now we're up to the living room. You'll see that TV disappear in a second because I realized that I wanted a fireplace in this house because obviously it's an old house and old houses almost always have had a fireplace. So that'll go away here in a second, but now I'm just filling in with some hall tables and end tables, and I like that little like old-timey radio thing. I don't know, what is that called, a phonograph? I don't know, maybe it's just a radio, I have no idea. So yeah, so this is me figuring out where the fireplace should go and getting a TV to fit over top of it, which I don't really like doing that in real life, but I didn't want to have to choose between having the furniture aimed at the TV or the furniture aimed at the fireplace. So I just did both. And oh yeah, that chess table, that will move here in a second, because as soon as I put in the chairs, I was like, I don't know that a sim could get in here. And then I tried to like scooch the furniture over, and finally I was like, this is just not good. I don't like this. So the chess table ends up going behind the couch, which works a lot better, and you can still get in and out of the chess tables, chairs, and it's not overcrowded behind that love seat. So, and of course, putting in curtains and finding some more old looking pictures. I tried to find as many pictures as I could, like that are the big collages with pictures of people, because I also sort of feel like these are the people who would live in this house would be the type of people who would have more value in family photos than they would in fine art. So like there's a few pictures that aren't of people, like those sunflowers obviously, or like I think there's a rooster picture on one of the other walls, but really they are all about their family and their friends, and that's who's on their wall, not necessarily, the fanciest painting that they got at an auction or something, because that's just not these type of people, not at all. So yep, so now I'm putting in some more decorations and plants and just trying to make the living room look like, I don't know, like it was more lived in. I also really like putting a mirror by the front door, because in reality I like having a mirror by the front door of a house so you can like check yourself out before you leave and make sure your hair is okay and you don't have like food in your teeth. So anyways, so back upstairs now, we're doing the nursery with a little bassinet or a crib, and of course a toddler bed, which I am still just so happy with toddlers. I actually, on one of my off-camera households that I've been playing, my toddlers have all aged up to be children, so I haven't played with toddlers in a while until I went to take the screenshots and the videos for this house, and I forgot how cute they are. Like, really so cute. So yeah, so this is like orangish with like a blue-green kind of pattern. I tried to make it like fun and colorful. In hindsight, I don't know why I put a clock in this room too, because obviously if you're a toddler, you're not reading an analog wall clock, but I don't know, maybe it's for mom and she wants to see like, how long have I been sitting here trying to get my kid to go to bed. I don't know. you can be creative or take it down. That works too. So the kids' bathroom upstairs is like kind of a weird tealy green color. I just wanted something that was a little bit more bright and colorful. Realistically, I know that at least one of the kids who would live in this house would probably end up using the full bath downstairs. That's kind of more of a grown-up color palette, but you know, in the end, there's 2 beds in each of the 2 kids' bedrooms, and then there's a toddler bed and a bassinet. So you could feasibly have 6 kids living in this house at one time. So I thought, rather than do like a half bath anywhere, it would just be way more helpful to have 3 full bathrooms. So, yep. So now we're up to the boys' room, which I did in like a blue and white color pattern. I also decided that these kids would probably be really into void critters, and I really liked them a lot when they first came out, but I found myself not using them very much, mostly because it really bums me out that teenagers can't play void critters anymore, which I really wish they would change that at some point. I know there used to be a mod that would let you do like void critter battles even if you were a little bit older, but I don't know if it stayed updated or not. So anyways, so I tried to avoid putting the science kit in the boys' bedroom just because I feel like that's stereotypical, like a boy object. So I was going to try to find a way to make it work into the girls' bedroom, but in the end, I also really wanted to make sure that the puppet theater wound up in one of their rooms, and it worked better in the girls' room than it did in the boys' room because of all the other stuff that was already in the boys' room with like the void critter battle station and then their toy shelf thing on the wall. And I was like, you know, I could try to squeeze that in there, but this is fine. So I also sort of figure too that like the kids just wouldn't stick in one room. Like I remember growing up, once my brother and sister and I had separate bedrooms, we would still go and play in the other kids' bedrooms, like obviously with their permission, in case my siblings are listening to this. But it's not like, you know, you isolate yourself away, like you're obviously going to play with your siblings. So that is one thing I didn't get in, was that giant dollhouse, which I don't know why they've made so many objects in this game so big, because like it's hard to fit them in sometimes. Like the telescope, I don't think I've ever put a telescope in a build in The Sims 4 because it basically requires its own room. Or the microscope, which is ironic because it's called a microscope and yet it's giant, and I know obviously that it's micro meaning what you look at, not the size of it, but like come on. Like, how am I supposed to ever fit that into a build and not have it stick out like a sore thumb? So anyway, so I decided over the dollhouse to put in a puppet theater instead because I thought that was fun. Yeah, so anyways, so now we are, oh right, I have to do curtains still in the girls' room. Honestly, I love the color palette of this girls' room, and I love those butterfly lights and then the rope lights with the pictures hanging off of them. Like, that is very much something that I would have done, like maybe not as a little kid, but definitely by like 10 or 11. That was all me. So anyway, so now we're off to the master, which again, I tried to stick with like really traditional styled furniture, and it's kind of got this really pretty blue and white color scheme going on. And once again, I managed to put a clock in the bedroom, which that's one thing that I don't know, I have mixed feelings about, is not having an alarm clock. Oh yes, and then I did realize to put in the indoor bin and the outdoor bin, and then the mailbox out front, because I always end up forgetting at least one of those things. But this house, I got all 3. I'm very proud of myself. Thank you. So anyway, so back to the master bedroom before I got distracted by trash cans and mailboxes. So I wanted to get the vanity in here again, because I sort of feel like, you know, this might be a bedroom that's maybe a little bit more put together, but still like family heirloom type furniture. So it's all older styled, and yeah, so lots of blues, lots of whites. I felt like the room was missing something, so I decided to put in one of those like screens that people would change behind, because it took up a little bit of room that I felt like needed to be taken up And also because that seems like the type of thing that would be like in an older house. Like you don't ever see younger people using one of those changing screens. That's something that like grandma would use. So yeah, so back to the master bathroom. Pretty straightforward. I tried to do the shower tub combo as much as I could. Actually, yeah, I think I did get it in all 3 bathrooms. Also, I put in the toddler potty in the bathroom. Sometimes when I'm actually playing the game and not building, I'll put the toddler toilet in the bedroom that the toddler stays in, but in reality, that's kind of gross. Like, let's just be honest here, because if you have a toddler running around, they're gonna get into that when you don't want them to. So, like, it's not a toy, so yeah. Plus, like, I don't know, there's a little bit of an ick factor there too. So I put it in the master because I figured that would be where the potty training would be happening, probably more so. And then it doesn't take up precious space in the kids' bathroom, which is probably going to be busy most of the time. So, yeah, by this point I was definitely duplicating pictures, which I don't really like duplicating the same picture in a house, like, more than once. But with this house, there's just not that many traditional paintings for the Sims. I mean, like, there's the really, really nice ones, but there's not very many that are, like, inexpensive looking. So anyway, so I wound up putting the art desks in the hallway, because I think at one point I did try to put them or at least one of them into the boys' bedroom, but it just wasn't gonna fit. And this way it's something else that's in the hallway, and it I don't know, it takes up a little bit of space out there, and there's like not so much wasted space. Because the other thing too with this house is that even though it's a spacious house, this is, like, in my mind, it's like a centuries-old family home. So, like, through the years, people collect more things, and those things have to have a place to go. So it's open, but at the same time, it's also a little bit more cluttered. Oh, yes, and then I remembered I needed to put in those, whatever they call, the Kulala wall lights to make sure that the monsters under the beds don't come and, like, scare your children, which... It's a good thought, but I oftentimes get really annoyed by it. So now, anytime I have a kid's bedroom, I'm like, okay, I have to remember that lamp, and that way then it doesn't disrupt the entire family. Because of course the kids just don't wake up one parent, they'll wake up both parents. And if one parent tries to go back to sleep, then the kids will stop and go over and try to wake up that same parent again. And it's like, oh my god, kid, like... You've already got one parent taking care of your issue here with this monster under the bed. Can't you just be happy and accept that? So, yeah. So now I'm going through and putting in lights and doing a little bit of, like, last-minute touch-ups here and there. I didn't realize that those lights in the girls' bedrooms put off so much light. Like, I really didn't even need to put a lamp on their bedside table. But I put it there specifically for a lamp, so I was like, okay, I'm going with it. I'm just gonna, and I found one that's like, I think it's from Romantic Garden or Backyard Stuff. I don't remember which pack it is, but it looks like it's like flowers and a little candle, so it's not like, boom, here's a lamp, because really that room does not need it. Yeah, so boring lighting. And now we're off to the outside. So putting in a railing on the big sweeping wraparound porch, which I told my husband this the other day when I was done building this house. It was like, if I had to build one of the houses that I've made in The Sims 4 in real life, it would be this one. Like, I don't know, it's homey, and it's just warm and inviting, and I really like it. So yeah, so now I put up a little weather vane on top because, I don't know, it just seems like something that's always on farmhouses. I don't know if it's really, something that people still look at, but I still see them on farmhouses, and they might just be decoration, but I don't know. So anyways, lots of flower boxes, and I was really trying. I wanted to get those hanging flowers to come off of the beams on the front porch, but they just would not go. Like, I tried using move objects, they just wouldn't move onto those pillars. So I wound up putting them on either side of the front door instead, and they still look really nice, but it wasn't exactly my original intention with them, so yeah. But anyway, and now we're just putting in some patio furniture and places for people to like just sit down and relax and, you know, maybe chit chat or gossip with a neighbor or two who comes walking by. You know, all those, you know, old-timey, folksy types of activities. So, yeah, so then it almost got to the point where I had too much of a wraparound porch, and I was like, I need to find places to, like, fill in and put in more furniture and stuff. So, yeah, that's why there's, like, chairs kind of randomly off on the side, because I was like, well, might as well put in chairs. And, oh, yeah, so I had, like, this weird glitch when I was putting in the gate here on that diagonal fence. I put a gate up, and then I deleted the gate, but after I deleted the gate, the fence itself was not there anymore, which I think I discovered this once, like, a year or two ago. I'm pretty sure I even, like, sent in a report to one of the sim gurus, like, one of the quality assurance sim gurus or something, and it never got fixed. Like, it's still doing it. So, I mean, it's honestly not that big of a deal because then you just redraw the fence and it's fine. But, yeah, so anyway, so this is their farm pasture area. And this took me forever because I wanted to make the lines for growing the crops to be perfectly straight. And so I had to do it tile by tile. And because normally I would just sort of freehand with the terrain painting, but because I wanted it to be perfect, I just went click, click, click down the line. And this, I mean, for a frame of reference, this video is sped up to be 8 times fast. So that's how long that took me to do. So I also really wanted to get in like a little outdoors patio area and grill, and mostly because I really like the 6-person round table that we got with backyard stuff. And so I wanted to make sure that that was finding its home in this build. Also, I don't know that I've used that summertime drink pitcher thing that also came in that same pack. Mostly because I find it insane that you have to pay like 60 simoleons for lemonade. I mean, like, do you guys know about country time? Like, you get the powder for $2 and you mix it. Like, this is not like gourmet lemonade. But in any case, so I figured I'll go ahead and put it there because it aesthetically, at least, you know, looks nice. And I put in the bird feeder and a little fire pit. I put in, I think I went with the bamboo wind chimes on the other side. So I made it so that the 2 noisy things, being the birds and the wind chimes, would be on opposite sides of the house. So if you have a sim who gets bothered by both, they hopefully won't be able to hear both of them at the same time. So, and I liked the idea of doing like kind of overgrown bushes. I mean, obviously this house has flowers and, you know, nicer looking landscaping around it. But at the same time, these people are farmers. If they're outside working on stuff, it's going to be on the fruits and the vegetables and the herbs that they're selling for their livelihood. And so I kind of liked the idea that maybe some of these hedges had kind of gotten a bit out of control and needed to be pruned. So yeah, and now I'm just going in and doing a little bit more terrain painting and making it look like, you know, several generations of Sims have been walking and, you know, lighting a fire at the fire pit for many, many years. So yeah, I think we're almost done now. We're getting there. We're almost done. Just going in and making the flowers look like they've been growing in dirt and not grass. And here we are into the screenshots. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed watching this video. If you'd like to download the Folksy Farmhouse, you can find it in the gallery through my origin ID, which is Mrs. Tomato 1018. Or you can also look for the hashtag Mrs. Tomato 1018. And I'm also going to put a link to it on the gallery directly in the box below this video. So you can find it in a multitude of ways. So please feel free to leave me any comments or feedback. Tell me what you like, what you didn't like, whatever. I try to read and respond to every comment that I get, so don't be shy. I would love to hear from you. Or if you have any suggestions or requests of like what you'd like to see from me in the future in another video, I am open to suggestions and I would really appreciate it. And if you've liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos from me, there's a subscribe button, so please feel free to subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, so like I said before, I really like this house. I think price-wise, it's pretty reasonable. You know, I think it's definitely not something that like a poor farmer would be getting starting off the bat, but maybe, you know, is more of like a ancestral family home type of thing. You know, that could be more the story here. But, you know, I've also seen, you know, farmhouses that are like basically mansions with a garden out back. So this is a little bit more traditional and moderate, I would say. So, yeah, I mean, this has definitely been one of my favorite builds, and I think it's pretty versatile, and I hope that you guys like it and download it and subscribe to my channel. So yeah, anyways, so thank you so much for watching, and I hopefully will get another video out here pretty soon in the near future. Bye!